Guys, I'm once again back with a new video, and this video is based on two concepts. Number one, instant, and number two, interval. So these two things, let me tell you one thing, these two concepts play a pivotal role in our day-to-day life, and we cannot realize anything without these concepts. Not only this, actually you can say the concept of reference and the concept of course, relativity and the concept of instant and interval. These and many other concepts collectively constitute the spine which is responsible for what we are today and what we are doing today, the way we are living today, right? So actually it's a very important thing and a very important concept that I will try to make you people understand in a very easy way, in a simplified way, and of course it will be devoid of any kind of complications and difficulties, because as we know very well, scientists always try to neglect or to get rid of the difficulties to make the calculations look more simple, because that helps them to draw sound conclusions, right? So in this particular video I will take care of that. What I'm going to ensure is that the matter do not get complicated. So I'm going to make you people understand, feel, visualize what does an instant mean and what does an interval means and what is the basic difference in between the two concepts that I'm going to talk about. Okay, so now without any more delay, let us focus on what we have decided to deal with. Right, that is instant on one hand and interval on the other. So let's begin with the battle between instant and interval. Instant versus interval. So let me start with instant. Right. If I try to define instant in a very easy way, then what is going to be the definition of it? Let me tell you. Instant is a very small or extremely small or infinitesimally small interval which is said to be infinitesimal or very small or extremely small with respect to us. That means what we need is a reference without which we cannot define an instant. Once again, we find an interrelation with the concept of relativity, right? Did you all feel that? I hope you all feel that. So let me continue now. So I was talking about an instant. As I have said just now, it is a very small interval. So now some people will say that, so what's the difference between an interval and an instant? Just now you have mentioned that instant is a very small interval. So why did I make use of the term interval while explaining instant? So let me clarify that out. Theoretically, I repeat, theoretically, instant means a moment. Instant means you can get a feel of it if you take a snapshot, if you take a screenshot, right? Or let me make you feel that. Okay. For example, I am giving gestures like this, and suddenly what you did is that from your side you pause the video, and for example, you find me in a freezed state. For example, like this. So in this instant, my hand is here, right? And my eyes are wide open. As soon as I resume, I will continue. So that was an instant or a moment that you have felt just now, or you can easily feel that by pausing the video at any time you want, right? But that is something theoretical, right? That's something theoretical. We should talk what is practical. Many will say that we have practically done that, so it is practical. No, wait. The thing that you have done is you have taken a snapshot. That is an experiment to make you understand what is an instant, but that is not an instant. Or it doesn't mean that you are examining a moment. right? Of course, you are examining a moment, you are examining an instant, but it is not that much easy to deal with. I want to make you understand this particular thing. It is not that much easy to deal with, right? So let me start with instant in a very easy way and in a simplified way. So if I say that interval is a stick, or if I represent the interval with the help of a pen or a stick, right, then what is an instant? Then if I divide or break or split up that pen or the stick into very small parts, where say n number of small parts, n number of those small parts, right, where each one of those part is identical with respect to one another, will collectively constitute what you known as interval. So therefore an interval is made up of certain number of instants. Yes, you can think it in this particular way. I think it's the easiest way to deal with it. For example, if I say I have taken 100 small parts, and if I join them with a glue, what I'm left with is something. Now if I say that something represents an interval, then each one of those small parts which I have joined represents an instant, right? Is it clear to you all? I think it's the very easiest way to understand. Before I go into details, I think it's a good initiation, right? Okay. That was all about the initiating part. Now let me go into a bit depth. Whenever we talk about instant, it is like a constituent point of an interval. That means, so now I have to talk about interval also. Interval is basically is the duration that we talk about. For example, if I say that I moved out of my house at sharp 2 p.m. and I reached my destination at sharp 5 p.m. So now this duration from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., this duration is what you know by the name, or which you call by the name interval. So can I say that an alternative term or name that can be used in place of interval is duration? Yes, you can do that. Now if I say, what about instant? Then if I say, okay, you are confused about instants, let me give an answer. At sharp 2 p.m. I told, right? So when it was sharp 2 p.m., that sharp 2 p.m. is an instant, that sharp 5 p.m. is an instant, and you can find such type of instants in between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. also. For example, 2:30 is an instant, 4:45 is an instant, 3:30 is an instant. So all these are the instants lying in between the two extremities, and the two extremities, right, or the extreme positions, that is 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. each one of them is individually an instant. Is that so simple? No. See, I'm here to make you think, right? So I will tell you something that will really help you a lot. That something is this. You might have seen when you might have seen one thing, you might have noticed one thing when you watch any YouTube video, right? Timing is mentioned at the bottom. When you scroll forward, you get timings. What you get to know is timings, right? Or let me make you understand. For example, a poll is going on, a vote is going on. Everybody is voting. I am there, I am there, I am present, I am present, I am present, I am present now. What I found is that at 11:04 a.m. what I got is 4 votes. If 11:04 is really an instant with respect to me, Now, can you give me one answer? If that is an instant, right? So is it not something complex? Because at that same instant, 11:04 p.m., lot many peoples are typing their votes, typing their answers. So you have to deal with each one of them to know what's going on in that at that instant, right? So it is very much complex. Now if I squeeze the matter, and if I decrease the span, if I talk in terms of second, now it will be comparatively easy to deal with the cases, because we have decreased the time, right? Then I can go deep, second to microsecond, microsecond to picosecond. So if I go down and down and down and down, what will happen? What will happen? The region provided to you becomes small and small and small and small and small. It keep decreasing. It get contracted, and it becomes easy to deal with the instant, with the so-called instant, although it's not the instant at all. Because you know what? Instant is a time where you cannot draw any conclusion. It will not be an easy task to do that, right? So what is an instant? Let me tell you something. What is an instant? Okay. Let me tell you it in an easy way once again. An instant is an infinitesimal moment in time. It is an infinitesimal moment in time. A moment whose passage is instantaneous. A moment whose passage is instantaneous. What do this mean? Infinitesimal moment in time. Yes, infinitesimal moment. Infinitesimal moment. Suddenly, something happened. Oh my God. Something happened at some instant. Right? We say in this way. Right? We say in this way very often. So this is quite common. Okay. Now, let me tell you one thing. There was a scientist known by the name Bertrand Russell, who put up a brave fight to know the actual meaning of an instant after Aristotle had contributed on the same thing, that is an instant. So yeah, it sounds simple. Instant, okay. But even scientists fought a lot to know more and more and more and more about this simple sounding term known by the name instant. So it's not that simple, right? Do you agree with me? I think all will agree with me now. Okay, fine. That was something I was talking about. Now if I say, let me read to you a paragraph from my notes that I have written specially for this video, and then I will explain that paragraph also. Okay. The continuous nature of time, because time is something that keep flowing and keep moving, right? So the continuous nature of time and its infinite divisibility was addressed by Aristotle in his Physics, where he wrote on Zeno's paradoxes. The philosopher and mathematician Bertrand Russell, as I have mentioned just before, okay, was still seeking to define the exact nature of an instant thousands of years later. Right. So reading this paragraph, the main objective of reading this paragraph is to let you know that instant isn't something simple. It's something really serious that was dealt with by eminent scientists and eminent contributors. Right, as I have said just now, the continuous nature of time. Because we all feel that time is like a flowing river, like a flowing water current. And we also have heard the statement, right? The line that we make use every now and then. Time and tide wait for none. Right? Do you agree with me? Yes. Because this is something that we make use of every now and then. Okay. So what we have understood is that instant is not something small. It's something humongous. Okay. So let me give you another example to make it more clear. Why did I say that instant is something that depends upon the reference? Because theoretically instant is a moment. But if we want to deal with it practically, if there is a need to deal with it, then we should have some strategies, right? Because as you know, it is something troublesome. It is like an irritant, it's like an irritant to the scientists, right? It's like an irritant. So how to get rid of that? The way out was simple, because as you know, no one of us need complexity in life. So why it is said to be simple? The approach was simple. What do we deal with, what do we consider is an interval, but it is very, 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 very dot up to infinity. Means very, very or extremely small interval we deal with, right? Strange, right? Why so? Because that interval is very, 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 very small with respect to us. So at least we will be satisfied that yes, what we are dealing with is almost equals to an instant. So the answer we will get will be a close approximation of the one, right? Where one is considering the instant directly. So since the two results are almost equals to one another, so we are bit satisfied with this particular concept. That means making use of an interval like an instant to make the matter more simple, to make the matter look small, and so that we can deal with it in an easy way. Okay. If I try to amalgamate the concept of relativity in this particular case, what I will be left with? Let us see. If I say that there is a line drawn onto a piece of paper, it is so small that it appears like a dot with respect to us. Means if anyone shows you that line, you will say, hey, this is a dot. Who is saying that it is a line? It's a dot. But if I ask the same question to a microorganism, he will say no. It is significant with respect to me, it is appreciable, it is considerable, so I am going to consider it. On the other hand, what I will say is no, I will neglect it. Because it is negligible with respect to me. Once again, the concept of relativity is playing a pivotal role in this particular case. This was all about an instant and interval. Interval is the duration. An instant is the smallest possible division of that interval that one can deal with. Actually, one cannot deal with it directly. That's why we have so many strategies. So what do you think, guys? Who is more complex, interval or instant? Of course, instant. Let me add a few more references before ending this video. Right. Okay. So I would like to talk about Planck length. What is Planck length? In physics, the Planck length denoted by L in the subscript P is a unit of length, that is the distance light travels in 1 unit of Planck time. It is equal to, I'm telling the exact value, right? 1.616255 multiplied by within bracket 18 multiplied by 10 to the power 10 raised to the power of minus 35 meter. Just think about it.